Let's dive into a timeless story from the epic Mahabharata. It's about a king who desperately wanted to stay young forever, and it's a wild ride that explores desire, sacrifice, and what it really means to live a meaningful life. You've got to hear this one. This one quote, it's basically the whole story in a nutshell. It's a warning, really, about how desire works. It's this fire that our main character, King Yayati, is about to spend 1,000 years trying and failing to put out. All right, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off with King Yayati, a ruler who was actually born into a pretty complicated family. And to really get what happens to him, we need to rewind a bit and look at the shadows of his past. So on one hand, you've got his dad, Nahusha. He was this amazing ruler who was so virtuous he actually got to rule in the heavens. But he let pride get the best of him and was cursed to become a serpent. A huge fall from grace. Then you have his son, Yayati. He starts out as the golden boy, right? A noble king, a great conqueror, and a guy who followed the path of Dharma. So you just heard me mention Dharma. What exactly is that? Well, think of it like the ultimate moral compass for this world. It's all about righteousness, duty, and just living the right way. And yeah, at the beginning of his rule, Yayati was nailing it. He was the perfect example of Dharma. But you know how these stories go? One small act of kindness ends up changing everything. Yayati rescues a woman named Devayani from a well. Turns out she's the daughter of a powerful sage, and she demands he marry her. Part of that whole deal is that her rival, a princess named Sharmishta, has to become her personal maid. So now he fought the king, the queen, and the queen's rival, who's now her maid, all living under one roof. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? And yeah, that fragile piece I just mentioned, it was never gonna last, because while Yayati was married to Devayani, his eyes and his desires started to wander, and that led to a betrayal that would blow everything up. On the surface, everything looked perfect. King Yayati and Queen Devayani had 2 sons, Yadu and Turvasu. The line of succession seemed totally secure. The kingdom was happy. But behind the scenes, a totally different story was playing out. Yayati had secretly started an affair with Sharmishta, the princess who was now a maid, and together they had 3 more sons. The king was living a complete double life. You just know a secret that big can't stay hidden forever, right? When Devayani finds out, she runs straight to her father, the super powerful sage Shukracharya. He did not take the news well. His fury was instant, and it was devastating. Bam! With a single curse, Yayati's youth is just gone. In the blink of an eye, he becomes a frail old man. But Yayati, he was not the type to just accept his fate. Oh no. Still burning with all this unfulfilled desire, he turns to his 5 sons with a proposal that is just unthinkable. And this is where I want you to just pause for a second. Think about it. If you could have your youth back right now, what would you be willing to give up? But here's the real kicker. What would you be willing to ask someone else to give up for you? So Yayati goes to his sons one by one, begging them, trade me your youth for my old age. First up, Yadu, the eldest from his first wife. He says no. Then Turvasu, Druhu, and Anu, all of them refuse, and Yayati is so enraged, he curses them. But then, Puru, his youngest son, the son from his secret love, Sharmishta, he steps forward, and he says yes. He agrees to the terrible exchange. So Yayati gets his wish. He's young again, with a whole millennium of pleasure stretching out in front of him. But the real question is, was it going to be enough? Just think about that number, 1,000 years. An entire millennium to indulge every single whim, all at the expense of his own son's youth. This was like the ultimate experiment to see if endless pleasure could actually make someone happy. And man, did he go for it. He chased every pleasure you could possibly imagine. He traveled the world, had endless feasts, enjoyed the company of countless beautiful partners. For 1,000 years, he lived a life of pure, absolute indulgence. But after all that time, after a millennium of getting everything he ever wanted, a truly crushing realization hits him. Indulging his desires hadn't quenched them at all. It was like throwing gasoline on a fire. He finally understood that the pursuit of pleasure was a bottomless pit. The more he got, the more he wanted. Completely humbled by this, Yayati goes back to his son Puru. He restores his youth, and as a reward for his incredible sacrifice, he makes him the new king. As for the other sons who said no, they were out, disinherited. And here's a cool little detail. It's actually from Puru's family line that the great heroes of the Mahabharata are eventually born.
And with this really hard-won wisdom, Yayati's story takes a totally different path. He's done with chasing worldly pleasure. He's on a new quest now, a spiritual one.
He completely renounces his kingdom and heads into the forest to live as a hermit, performing incredible acts of penance. In fact, his efforts are so great, he actually earns a place in heaven. But, plot twist, his journey isn't over. He gets kicked out because he gets arrogant about his achievements. It's only after he learns that true dharma, true righteousness lies in selfless service, that he's finally redeemed and gets back into heaven for good. So, if you boil his entire crazy, long life down to one core lesson, it's this. Desire, the very thing he chased for a millennium, is what keeps you trapped. It binds your soul. But detachment, the art of letting go, that's what sets you free. And why are we still talking about this ancient story? Because its message is absolutely timeless. We are so often obsessed with keeping our bodies young, right? But Yayati's journey is this powerful reminder that true vitality, real youth, it doesn't come from a flawless body. It comes from a free and humble spirit. Yayati was chained by his pursuit of pleasure and his fear of aging. So as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with a question to chew on. What desires, big or small, might be chaining you? It's definitely something worth thinking about.